Welcome to CBN4's Primetime News. I am your presenter, Sheena Harry. The message was clear when reigning Miss Dominica 2016, Tassia Flozak, and the former Miss Dominica 2015, Odessa Eli, both addressed the student body of the convent high school, encouraging them to follow their dreams and to never give up. The young ladies spoke during a special assembly at the school, all part of the observation of International Women's Day.
When children show healthy development in spite of adversity, it is called resilience. And that is what our message is about. Young girls building a resilient society. Fostering resilience in young children requires strengthening of the family, as well as the child's own resource. How does this tie into gender parity? Gender parity is necessary to foster positive change so that odds for favorable development can be improved.
And Ellie, who echoed similar sentiments of that of Flozak, advised the young ladies on the importance of thinking positive, which is vital for one's future and destination in life.
You all need to believe in yourselves because your perception of yourself is extremely important. Do you think you are a failure? If you tell yourselves that you all are failures, then what do you think is going to happen to you in the future? What do you think is going to happen? You all are eventually going to believe that, and your perception becomes your reality.
And she added that this is why one should always think positively about themselves and live on the motto that states, you can do anything you put your mind to, and always think that nothing is too great to accomplish. The NGO Coalition for the Protection of Children and Youth is appealing to the public to refrain from making unfounded statements that can compromise matters pertaining to inappropriate behavior by adults involved with a minor. Thomas Holmes, who is the part founder of the NGO Coalition, says the coalition was formed as the need for child protection became an obligation in society.
Brought the NGO together a couple of years ago, and then we had 5 members, starting. Now we have about 13 NGOs itself, and the other individuals who are assisted. What the NGO does is really, what we're doing is to really stand up for the rights of our children and youth, and also going to educate them. This morning again on the media, in another media, I spoke about education and I mentioned the NGO. The NGO is doing a good job, just that we have to ensure what we're doing, we're on the right track. Now, what the NGO does is really to create awareness, number one, and then to stand up for children who are being abused and then there's no justice for them.
The organization is therefore appealing to all officials and the media, reminding them that the persons involved are minors, and until such time we have the responsibility to not take matters into our own hands. And Holmes said that the coalition wants to ensure that the public understands that they must not engage in any hearsay, as it can jeopardize the cases at hand.
Be careful about what we do and what we say. Calling names should not be. We cannot accuse somebody if we do not have the facts. That is why Kariman will not say anything about what is going on now until we know from the law what is going on. We are not going to speculate, and we're asking people not to speculate. There's some people who are doing it, or some groups, they're doing it, just because they want their name out. They want to be in the media, they want to be in the news that people are saying that they're doing something. No, the people that we want them to be genuine. There are people before, they never said anything. They stood by the roadside, they stood in their homes, they stood wherever. Not a word was said when some children were being abused or women were being abused. All of a sudden, people are talking about things, it's all in the air, and then some people are coming out. We have to be careful about that, and whatever you do, let it be facts.
Holmes informed that the NGO Coalition will be hosting a series of town hall meetings where various informed speakers will be invited to create awareness and educate the public on forms of abuse. Various other organizations have partnered with the NGO Coalition to fight against abuse of all sorts and to provide protection as well as legal advice, and they are the Child Fund, DNCW, the Bureau of Gender Affairs, and the National Youth Council, among others. Attorney General Levi Peter expressed concern that the public does not understand the gravity of the reporting restrictions in place to protect both victims and perpetrators in sexual offenses cases. Peter also expressed concern that members of the public are criticizing the present government for making amendments to the Sexual Offences Act in order to protect its own interests.
In light of some of the discussion that I've heard suggestions, and I've heard it being said that the current government has made amendments to the legislation so as to accommodate members of the government and its supporters, particularly in light, for example, of reporting restrictions and so forth. And I think it's important to emphasize that the reporting restrictions that you and myself and everybody else operates under at the moment are contained in the 1998 Act.
Peter went on to suggest that blaming any one administration for shortcomings of the Act is unfair, since each administration will make changes based on the evolution of society.
You know, that Act, the Sexual Offences Act, was passed in the time of a previous regime. It's not the current regime in terms of political colors. And clearly, I don't think that it would be appropriate or fair to seek to lay blame or seek to castigate the regime, the political party, the government that was in power when the 1998 Act passed, because perhaps today we get to a point where we feel there are areas that it could be improved. And so too in another 10 or 15 or 20 or whatever years' time, if further amendments are to be made, it would not be appropriate to lay blame at this government. We are
And Peter made his remarks during a briefing to highlight the suggested amendments to the Sexual Offences Act that will be presented to Cabinet. Under Section 1 of the Act, it is illegal to disseminate any information that leads to the identity of persons involved in a sexual offense case. Also making our headlines. International Women's Day was a day to celebrate achievements, but it was also used as a day to empower and encourage those who need help but don't know where to turn. Director of Lifeline Ministries, Tina Alexander, said that her faith-based organization has launched the Domestic Violence Hotline.
Abuse in the family is a national problem, and we all need to stop turning a blind eye. There's tremendous therapeutic value in breaking the silence. Our service will be available 24/7 on 1-800-744-3629. If you look on your phone, it's DNCW. And these free calls will be automatically forwarded to a responder.
Alexander went on to say that the hotline is not meant as a means to make official police reports, but rather to seek the counseling and information that one needs. She encouraged parents of children who are abused to seek help, not only for the child, but for themselves, as they too have to learn to cope. Alexander assured that these responders will be trained professionals who will adhere to the strictest guidelines for confidentiality. And that number again is 1-800-744-3629, and that spells DNCW. Following his sudden resignation as the Minister of Public Works and Ports after being implicated in a sex scandal, Ian Pinad has been replaced. Senator Miriam Blanchard will fill that post. And this replacement decision was announced by the Office of the Prime Minister. According to the release, the appointment took effect on March 6th. And during his emotional video resignation, Pinad stated the decision came in light of what he regards as allegations of inappropriate behavior made against him, in addition to other personal matters. The office of the Prime Minister also added that the portfolio of postal services has been allocated to Justina Charles, who is Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and Constituency Empowerment, which took effect on March 7th. Both appointments were made in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Dominica, the release added. Dominica's award for being one of the most ethical destinations in the world was strongly defended by the body that presented that honor. Here's Shanna Esprit to explain.
Dominica's ambassador to the United States accepted the 2016 Ethical Traveler Award on behalf of the government and people of Dominica. Jeff Greenwald, Executive Director of Ethical Travel, noted that the country had done an impressive job on promoting human rights, preserving the environment, and supporting social welfare. This is the third consecutive award to Dominica, and Greenwald explained that the decision was taken citing reports by organizations as the World Bank and UNICEF, independent NGOs as Freedom House and Reporters Without Borders, as well as independent researchers appointed by Ethical Traveler. Greenwald pointed to Dominica's leadership initiatives in the development of geothermal energy, its independent legal system, its program to provide free healthcare to its citizens, and continued improvements in access to education at all levels. The current effort to include aspects of marine conservation in the primary curriculum, including reference to the protection of whales and other marine life, was highlighted as an important thrust in the area of animal welfare. Greenwald insisted that none of the countries on the list had perfect records. Nonetheless, they had all consistently demonstrated a commitment to improvements over time. Greenwald also advised international travelers not to underestimate the influence of their travel dollars by visiting countries recognized by Ethical Traveler. Holidaymakers can use or economic leverage to reward good works and support best practices. Ambassador Charles congratulated representative of other awardees. Grenada is the only other Caribbean country on the 2016 list, and thanked Ethical Traveler for its recognition of the effort of the government and people of Dominica to improve the well-being of its citizens in a manner that recognizes the importance of sustainability and the recognition of political and human rights. Shanna Esprit, CBN4 News.
Also in our news, International Women's Day is not just a day for women to celebrate other women, but one male-oriented organization is playing a key role in recognizing the contributions of women in our society. And once again, here's Shanna Esprit.
The Caribbean Male Action Network, or rather CARIMAN, joins in solidarity with all women and girls in observance of International Women's Day. President of CARIMAN, Thomas Holmes, pledges his support to women and girls to ensure their safety, protection, and well-being.
All-male organization, though we have a few women in our organization, what we do need to be in solidarity with all girls and women tomorrow. We are supporting them as they strive for respect and justice, and that they will not be abused or misunderstood. So we are there to support them in whatever way.
However, Holmes stated that while CARIMAN applauds all the girls and women who are successful and express their freedom, the organization laments the numerous and unending atrocities being meted out by unethical men and boys to women and girls, particularly the vulnerable and unprotected. According to Holmes, we must realize and acknowledge that money and power are not all. Money, power, and friendship should never be allowed to be used as a weapon to abuse others and to keep them quiet.
An activity, but we are trying to reach out to every boy and young man and men and ask them to respect women, because Dominica is in a stage now where we're seeing things happening. And by the way, it's not just girls and women we are disrespecting, we are also disrespecting some boys. So some of our boys are being disrespected, some of them are being sexually abused, physically abused, and then we have to stop that. We have to let men know that they should not engage our young people in doing those things. Against their will, they're too young not to give consent to that.
Kariman is asking everyone who are expressing support to our girls and women to do so without speculation that will hinder justice and not attempt to do it for their own gratification. Holmes, on behalf of Kariman, wished all women and girls a blessed and fruitful International Women's Day, free from all abuse, and encouraged them to stand up and talk for their rights and freedom, as well as demand respect. Kariman also urged its members and all men and boys to support the call from the Bureau of Gender Affairs and other organizations to wear something with the color purple so as to demonstrate solidarity with our girls and women.
Thank you, Shanna, for that report. In celebration of the amazing achievements of Dominica's extraordinary women, Digicel showed support for International Women's Day with a Rock Your Purple campaign, which encouraged all to wear something purple in support of women. Digicel held the Red Carpet Affair, where women and men flaunted their purple and had their pictures taken, as well as got the opportunity to win prizes. And as part of this celebration, Digicel partnered with the Bureau of Gender Affairs to host a special ceremony where 3 women were presented with awards by the Bureau and Digicel in recognition of their extraordinary achievements. And marketing executive at Digicel, Calvia Timothy, said that these women were very deserving.
That we found it quite fit to recognize and appreciate extraordinary women in Dominica with extraordinary hearts doing extraordinary things.
The awardees were Mrs. Julie Frampton, who is a retired coordinator of the HIV unit and nurse practitioner, Mrs. Celia Nicholas, principal of Community High School and president of the Dominica Teachers Association, and Mrs. Priscilla Prevo, long-serving nurse in the St. Joseph District and promoter of wellness across Dominica. In addition to the awards, they received 3 months of complimentary TV or broadband service from Digicel Play. Six contestants from various primary schools around the island will vie for the title of Mademoiselle Francophonie later on this month. And the pageant, which is in its 4th year, forms part of the many activities which will commemorate Francophonie Month. The 6 contestants were officially sashed by the reigning Mademoiselle Francophonie 2015, Jeraine Joseph, at a press launch.
On Saturday, 19th March, the 4th Mademoiselle Francophonie pageant will be held at the Arawak House of Culture. 6 schools will be represented at the festival, representing 5 Francophone member states: Ghana, Switzerland, Togo, Djibouti, Monaco, and 1 observer state, Mozambique, will be.
And let's take a closer look at our 6 contestants.
Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle Elani Leslie, j'ai 10 ans et je vais à l'école primaire Massacre. Je représente le pays du Togo. Je vous prie de venir nous soutenir, moi et les autres tireurs qui sont sur le 19 mars 2016 dans la Mademoiselle Francophonie. Au revoir et à bientôt. Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle Adressa Roche. Je viens de Waterloo et je représente le conseil de Waterloo. Je ose et je suis en 6e. Je représente Djibouti. Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle Marissa Frank. J'ai 12 ans. Je suis étudiante à l'école primaire à Saint-Saul. Je représente la République de Mozambique. Bonjour, je m'appelle Simone Moses. J'ai 9 ans, je suis à l'école primaire de Montjon. Je représente le pays de Monaco. Merci. Bonjour à tous. Âgée de 9 ans, je suis mademoiselle Juliette Philippe. On élève de 4e année à l'école privée de Boisfort. Je représente le Ghana. Bonjour, je m'appelle Julien Eustache. J'ai 9 ans. J'attends à Casabos Primary School et représente la Suisse. Merci.
And other activities such as the Francophone Cook-Off at the Goodwill Primary School, the Secondary School's French Day and the March through Roseau, as well as the Primary School's French Festival will be held in celebration of Francophonie Month. And that wraps up our Primetime News. We appreciate you choosing us as your primary news source. Be sure to visit our website, cbn4.com, or check out our Facebook page. On behalf of our entire news staff, thanks for watching.